Hi everybody, it's Margaret here from Your Therapy Source, and I wanted to hop on a Facebook Live. I'm really excited. I just posted all the survey results from the question about screen time and young children. If anybody can't hear me, let me know in the comments. I'm hoping everybody can hear me. I was really impressed. This is probably one of the largest responses we've ever gotten. We had 520 professionals and parents respond to the survey, which is really promising that obviously people are concerned about this topic. And the interesting part is pretty much just as I suspected, but that an overwhelming majority of professionals and parents agree that screen time is negatively affecting a child's ability to be ready for school. So it's something we really need to work on educating parents, teachers, grandparents about to get kids ready physically and developmentally ready to start school, because if they're spending such an exorbitant amount of time on screens from birth to 5 years old, it can be very limiting and influential on their development. So we asked the question of two questions. What is your title? And then what's your opinion on screen time and young children? And 8 statements were provided, and they were given options to answer how they felt about the statement. So we had the bulk of the responders were occupational therapists, 295 were OTs and OT assistants, then 73 parents, 50 physical therapists and physical therapy assistants, 40 teachers, 10 counselors, 11 SLPs, and 41 other titles were kind of clumped together. So on the first one, it was overall negative health. Screen time negatively affects physical health, and 93% of the responders strongly agreed that screen time negatively affects physical health. So we move on to fine motor development, and 89% strongly agreed that screen time negatively affects fine motor development. So you'll see a trend here. Then screen time and gross motor development, same thing, that it has a negative effect on gross motor development. 93% agreed with that. Social development, 92% strongly agree that screen time negatively affects social development. I was a little surprised about this one, that many people agreed about it. 76% strongly agree that screen time negatively affects a child's approach to learning. This was one where we had a little higher on disagreed with that statement, but still the majority agreed. Screen time and young children's emotional development, the effects on that, and 85% strongly agreed that it negatively affects emotional development. And language development, 73% strongly agreed that screen time negatively affects language development. So obviously you see the trend here. Cognition and general knowledge. This one, 65% strongly agreed that screen time negatively affected cognition. Again, here we have some higher numbers on people with no opinion or disagreed. And there it is in chart form. So we know what the research says, and the research is definitely supporting that excessive amounts of screen time can be detrimental to many aspects of childhood development. Points to higher risk of obesity, decrease in physical activity time, interrupts sleep patterns, but it also affects learning, and that more than 2 hours of recreational screen time has been shown to be associated with poor cognitive development. Too much screen time is associated with a risk in expressive speech delay. And obviously when they're spending so much time on a screen, that's limiting their playtime. So one of the biggest things that we can do to help is to really encourage parents to follow the recommended guidelines for screen time in young children. I'm a parent of 6 kids. I understand that it can be really difficult to do, but I do have to say in our house, I was pretty good about waiting till 18 months. pretty much 2 years of age, my children did not have a lot of exposure to screens. And then you should limit it. Now, the American Academy of Pediatrics says 1 hour per day of high quality programs for 2 to 5 year olds, and that you should be watching the show with them so that they can understand it. And 6 and older, consistent limits on media time so it doesn't interfere with other healthy developmental activities of their day. So as parents and professionals, we also need to set a good goal. Children model what they see, so we need to reduce our own screen time as well. And it's really important to provide children with ample opportunities for open-ended active play so that kids are ready when they start school. Now, I know it's January here in the United States, and people probably aren't thinking too much about starting school, but if we think about how long it can take to build strength and coordination and balance and endurance, you need to start focusing on those skills way prior to when September rolls around. I know in Australia, they are starting school this week, and it's never too late to reduce screen time and increase physical activity for a child throughout a child's day. If you need some ideas, we have a great book, Play, Move, Develop. It's really easy to print out activities that you can send home with parents, and all of the activity ideas pretty much uses equipment and materials that you would have around your house. And this is for, older babies and up activity ideas, but it can be for a wide range of age levels. And then we have a brand new Get Fit for School webinar that is presented by Ingrid King, who is an occupational therapist, and she's going to walk you through using a play-based approach to help children get fit for school and have them physically ready to take on fine motor skills that are required for academic tasks. So if you want to head over to the blog, you can take a closer look at what all of these responses looked like. But if you haven't gotten this free Brain Break printable, this is great for older kids. That's on there still now too. But while you're here, I also wanted to show you, I'm not really sure how to do that. I wanted to change what I'm showing on the Facebook screen so that you can see the actual Excel spreadsheet for the responses, because it's really interesting to see how OTs and PTs responses compared to parents and why we need to work so hard at educating them. So I'm not really sure how to do that, so I think I'm going to end this live video and I'll quickly start up another one so you can see the actual Excel spreadsheets. All right, so stay tuned. I'm going to start another one.